Hello, everybody. Good morning. I'm Lori Heinel, the Deputy Global Chief Investment Officer for State Street Global Advisors. Thank you all so much for being here this morning, and welcome to the unveiling of our wonderful Fearless Girl at our new home here on Broad Street. It was 20 months ago, yes. Yes. It was 20 months ago that State Street Global Advisors placed the Fearless Girl statue at Bowling Green, just a few blocks from here. It was on the eve of International Women's Day, and we wanted to raise awareness about the need for more women leaders in the boardroom and in senior roles in management. Unlike today, there was no fanfare, no unveiling event marking her placement, but despite her quiet entrance, she certainly did not go unnoticed. In fact, she was instantly embraced by people around the world. Within hours, we saw millions of conversations about her on social media, broadcast, print, across 6 continents around the globe. And I know that and I'm sure many of you, enjoyed seeing all the photos of the girls and women and men and boys, and it really heartened us in the weeks following her installation. Fearless Girl was initially intended to stay in New York for just 7 days, but she earned a place in people's hearts. And in doing so, she has earned the opportunity to extend her stay in New York. So today, we're here to celebrate her installation outside the iconic New York Stock Exchange, a bigger stage for Fearless Girl where she can have an even greater impact. So now I'd like to invite State Street Global Advisor CEO Cyrus Avala and New York City Human Rights Commissioner Carolyn Maloney to do the honors of unveiling the Fearless Girl in her new home. Please. The Fearless Girl. Thank you. So now I'd like to welcome Cyrus Avala, who was one of the several important leaders who helped to make the Fearless Girl possible, to say a few words about the amazing impact of the Fearless Girl campaign has had on the gender makeup of corporate boardrooms around the world. Cyrus?
Thank you, Lori. I'm still getting some goosebumps just looking at this. So it's really exciting to be here to unveil Fearless Girl at a new home, where, as Lori said, she can have an even bigger stage to make an even bigger impact. I want to start with some thank yous to a lot of folks who made this day possible. Mayor de Blasio and his team, Department of Transportation, the Landmarks Preservation Commission, the New York Stock Exchange, and in particular Betty Liu and Stacey Cunningham, both of whom are here today, Congressman Maloney, thousands of women in leadership, and the millions of Fearless Girl fans worldwide. Throughout this campaign, even today, many people have asked, why is State Street Global Advisors, one of the largest asset managers in the world, so focused on an issue like gender diversity? Let me explain. Our clients are businesses and organizations serving millions of people across the globe. Pension plans helping to fund a teacher or a policeman's retirement. Foundations investing in scientific and environmental breakthroughs. And advisors helping mums and dads everywhere do the math to figure out how they're going to save enough to pay for their kids' educations. Our goal is to ensure that investments we manage on their behalf perform for the long term. Perform for the long term. Now, on the active side of our business, where portfolio managers pick the stocks they want to buy, it's quite simple. If they don't like a company, or if they don't like the way a company is being managed, they can sell the stock. It's simple. On the index side of our business, our portfolio managers don't have that luxury. They can't sell the stock. As long as a company is in the index, they have to own the stock, right? They can't give the returns of the S&P 499 instead of the S&P 500 just because they don't like a stock. So that means we have to engage those companies with our voice and our vote as a large shareholder to push them to take seriously the issues we believe are important to their long-term sustainability. Issues like climate change or cybersecurity, and yes, gender diversity. There's a growing body of evidence that suggests cognitive diversity contributes to better decision-making at the board level. These studies show gender-diverse boards pay more attention to risk management and are less inclined towards cronyism and capitalism. In other words, all else being equal, these companies tend to be better managed. So for us, advocating for gender diversity is not some part of a political agenda. It's about our long-term performance agenda. This is about value, not values. Yet, in 2017, 1 in 4 companies in the Russell 3000, the 3,000 largest companies in America, still did not have a single woman on the board. Not one, despite evidence that shows it's in their best long-term interest. Then Fearless Girl came along, a symbol of our efforts to get more women on corporate boards. I'm pleased to say that since her installation, 301 companies that we had identified as not having a single woman on their corporate boards have added a female director, and another 28 have committed to doing so. In addition, many other asset managers and institutions have stepped forward to advocate for greater gender diversity on boards as well. All told, there's about $15 trillion in total shareholder assets that now publicly back greater gender diversity on boards. And while there's a lot more work to be done, the number of companies in that Russell 3000 without a female director have actually dropped by 1/3. It's gone from 24% to 16%. Still 16% to go. But for me, there's something deeply personal about Fearless Girl's new location here at the New York Stock Exchange. You see, nearly 30 years ago, I was fortunate to have a summer internship right here on the exchange. I worked as a specialist on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange in 1989. It was the first job in America for this immigrant. So every day that summer, I'd grab my lunch and I'd go sit on those steps at the Federal Building next to George Washington's statue, and I'd gaze at this powerful symbol of capitalism that is the New York Stock Exchange. Now Fearless Girl will be part of that powerful image to inspire the next summer intern, the next public leader, and the next business leader of one of the companies traded on the exchange. That's why I believe Fearless Girl is not only reinventing the way we invest, she is changing the way we see the world. Thank you.
Thank you, Cyrus, so much for those comments and for that heartfelt wish. New York City Mayor Bill de Blasio and his team have been enthusiastic supporters of Fearless Girl and the message she carries about the power of women in leadership. As I mentioned earlier, the statue was only intended to stay in New York for 7 days. But in response to the overwhelming positive public response, the city helped to extend her stay and to find this new home for the statue. We greatly appreciate all that they've done to make this day a reality, and I'd like to now invite Carolyn Maloney, Chair and Commissioner of New York City Commission on Human Rights, to say a few words on behalf of the city.
Thank you. Good morning. I'm Carmel NP Morales, and I am the Chair and Commissioner of the New York City Commission on Human Rights. I am so pleased to be here on behalf of the Commission, the city, representing Mayor Bill de Blasio, along with my other fellow fearless women and one fearless man, and all you fearless people braving this cold today. I'm so proud to be here with Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney, Betty Liu, Executive Vice Chairman of the New York Stock Exchange, Cyrus Avala, President and Chief Executive Officer of State Street Global Advisors, and Lori Heinel, Deputy Global Chief Investment Officer for State Street Global Advisors, to unveil what I think we're all here for, Fearless Girl's new and permanent home at the New York Stock Exchange. Fearless Girl means so many to many of us, regardless of our gender. We see our daughters, we see our nieces, our mothers, our friends. We even see ourselves in her. She represents progress, potential, and hope. But she also represents all of the women who fought for equity and equality before us, on whose shoulders I and so many other people stand. Women like New York City's own Shirley Chisholm, who will soon have the long overdue recognition of a monument in her own native Brooklyn as the inaugural She Built NYC statue. Yes! And this is an initiative which seeks to correct the historical and pervasive injustice of erasing women and non-binary people from history. Congressmember Chisholm epitomizes New York City: fearlessness, innovation, opportunity. And so does our Fearless Girl. As the fight for equality, dignity, and respect continues, from Me Too to Believe Survivors, from the classroom to the factory floor to the boardroom, we know that visibility matters, that representation matters. And that is why Fearless Girl is so important. At the New York City Commission on Human Rights, we fight discrimination and harassment in the workplace, in housing, in public spaces, and our commitment to combating gender discrimination and ensuring women and everyone, people of all gender identities and gender expression, are treated fairly in equity with dignity and respect has never been stronger. Let's continue to lift up the voices, the stories, and the accomplishments of fearless girls everywhere, and let's build a society that our fearless girls really deserve. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Commissioner Morales. Of course, this day wouldn't be possible without the strong partnership with the New York Stock Exchange. And they've recently appointed the first ever female president of the exchange, Stacey Cunningham, who is here with us in the audience. And a few months ago, they added another top woman to their leadership team, and she's here to speak with you this morning. I'd like to introduce Betty Liu, Executive Vice Chairman of the New York Stock Exchange. Betty.
I brought my own cheering crowd over there in the back. Thank you so much, Lori, and it's an honor to be here with Cyrus, with Commissioner Morales, also Congressman Maloney, our neighbors, colleagues, and friends all gathered here today. We thank State Street Global Advisors and the City of New York for entrusting the Lower Manhattan community with Fearless Girl. She is a fearless addition to the neighborhood and will be a welcome companion, inspiration to the millions of people who walk through this thoroughfare every single year. We're proud to be a part of this community and to see its growth and evolution through the year. Now, this corner of Wall and Broad has been witness to centuries of extraordinary moments in our history. Our nation's first president, George Washington, took the oath of office right over there at Federal Hall. The growth of our economy has been symbolized by the mighty New York Stock Exchange for the past 226 years. And myself, as the proud daughter of a Chinese immigrant, I've always viewed New York City as a place that envelops everybody from all walks of life. This intersection in particular has been marked with the people and events that have changed the world. And today, this intersection has a new chapter. So if this chapter had an illustration, it's been brought to life in bronze with this statue here of Fearless Girl. Now we're honored to welcome Fearless Girl permanently here to the very spot that has captured the minds of business leaders, innovators, and entrepreneurs. 5 days a week, twice a day, we ring the opening and closing bell of the New York Stock Exchange from our podium with groups representing the hardest working, highest striving people pursuing their dreams. And from now on, they'll also look at Fearless Girl and think about how far we've come. But they'll also think about how far we still have to go in that ongoing pursuit where diversity and inclusion also means representation at the various highest levels of corporate and government leadership. So welcome to the neighborhood, Fearless Girl. Woo! You're among friends here at the New York Stock Exchange. We're proud that you stand with us as an enduring symbol calling for change and inspiring the fearless who will follow. Thank you.
Thank you, Betty. Now it's an honor to introduce Congresswoman Carolyn Maloney, the U.S. representative from New York's 12th Congressional District. Congresswoman Maloney has been a tireless champion for women in Congress and was an early and strong advocate for making the Fearless Girl permanent. Her efforts working with the city were critical in extending Fearless Girl's stay in New York City. Please join me in welcoming Congresswoman Maloney.
Thank you. I am really delighted that the Fearless Girl has found a permanent home right here in front of New York's Stock Exchange, and I thank State Street Global Advisors for creating her and the mayor and the mayor's team for finding this permanent home. Now, instead of staring down the bull, she's going to be staring down all of business right here in the center and capital of business for America, here in New York City, in front of a major symbol of America's economic success, the New York Stock Exchange. She started really as a statement, and she completely changed it into a movement. I was very struck by the presentation from Cyrus and State Street. When I get back to Congress this afternoon, I would like to place your statement in the congressional record and share it with Americans and share it with my members of Congress, what an impact she's already had in promoting women in leadership and in corporate boards. She started just as a statement, but she immediately moved into a iconic, beloved icon. She really captivated all New Yorkers. She was meant to stay just a short time, but New Yorkers did not want to see her go. And along with all the women leaders in New York, we started petitions and phone calls and meetings with the mayor, and he had the wisdom to work with us to extend her stay and make her a permanent part of New York City and New York's history and statement. And she's already made a difference. She represents women at a time when all options are before us. We are now calling it not the year of the woman, but the decade of the women. We're going to have over 100 new members walk into the halls of Congress, and they're not going there to just let the breeze in. They're going to be working for many major changes like what she's standing for. Her youth was a conscious choice. She's at an age, remember when you were her age and you felt like you could do anything, any barrier you could beat down? She's so bold and self-confident and hopeful. And she also represents the resilience and strength and positivity of women in business. I believe she symbolizes the future, that young girls her age will have every reason to expect to find the equality in the boardroom when they grow up, and that they're still dreaming about. But we have a lot of work to do. I hope that the Fearless Girl confronts the business leaders, that they take her challenge to heart, that they recognize that companies with the highest number of women on the boards are the most successful. Really, there have been government reports that show businesses that have more women on boards, their bottom line is better. And because I believe we need to do more than just hope, I have introduced legislation, even before the Fearless Girl appeared, 2 years before, the Gender Diversity on Corporate Leadership Act, to add encouragement to companies to put and appoint more women. This bill would not require companies to do anything except expose or reveal how many women are on their boards when they do their filings. Many investors have asked for this information, and I believe that it will serve a purpose of letting investors know how many women are on boards. It's important to know whether companies are inclusive, whether they're open to listening to women's views and women's concerns. It affects their bottom line if they don't, and I think it's important information for everyone to have, particularly investors. The Fearless Girl says in one image all that advocates can say in pages and pages of argument and statistics and research. She says it all, and she says it forcefully. She's a tangible reminder that it's time for women to get the recognition and opportunity they have earned. It's a win-win. The companies do better because they hear from a broader range of voices. Women do better because they can reasonably aspire to achieve more, and we all benefit from the good ideas that are being stifled. I'm delighted, absolutely delighted, that the Fearless Girl is getting a permanent home right here in front of New York's own stock exchange. I hope she'll continue to serve as a daily reminder to Wall Street to do more to open their boardrooms and corporate leadership spots to women and to a broader range of ideas. Thank you to the mayor, to the stock exchange, which is now headed by 2 women, bravo, and to State Street for putting a focus on the need for women in leadership of equality of opportunities in our great country. And thank you to the Fearless Girl for inspiring us all. She's already become a central piece of leadership in the women's movement. Whenever we announce a new bill to help women, children, and families, we always do it with the Fearless Girl. So thank you to everyone, especially the Fearless Girl. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, Congresswoman Maloney, and thank you all again for being here today. Let's have one more round of applause for the Fearless Girl. Yes, yes. So we're going to take a few photos with our speakers, and I want to also mention that the New York Stock Exchange has invited us to ring the opening bell in honor of Fearless Girl. So the guests who are here to help us ring the bell, please start making your way to the New York Stock Exchange entrance. So thank you again, everybody, for being here to celebrate this momentous occasion, and we look forward to seeing even more women aspire to positions in leadership in honor of the Fearless Girl. Thank you.